podcast where we put ourselves first without guilt, because if we don't, who will? This show is about giving women permission to prioritize themselves, ourselves, and we are keeping on telling each other to not shrink ourselves and not stay silent. Today we're going to be talking about navigating relationships during the change. We should stop calling it the change. My opinion. Hormonal shifts does not just affect you going through it. It actually affects everybody around you. But before we talk about that, I want to say hi. How are you doing, my cousin, my friend?
Hello, hello. I'm doing very good. Thank you. Well, I just recovered from a cold. So,
Oh
and
no.
but at the end of it, so it's good. And how are
That's
you?
good. I'm okay. It's a little bit hectic from work because there's a lot of things going on all at the same time. We had
I
my
know.
employee evaluations. I had to do my own evaluation. It's like a mid-year evaluation. Nobody really takes a big deal, but it's your evaluation. You kind of have to take control and be responsible for how you are doing at your job. And
True.
there's a lot of things happening all at once, but then you just gotta prioritize. I brought my mother back with me.
I know. How is it?
Ah.
Mixed.
Well, we gotta take care of. I mean, she's happy to be here. How about that? We spent
Yeah.
the day yesterday. Went to the store, and then after that, took her a little bit of shopping. There's a little store that she likes to go to that I'm not a big fan of, but she loves it,
Mm-hmm.
and so sometimes we gotta give up a little bit of our idiosyncrasies for the people we love.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes.
Yep, yep, yep. Anyways, let's talk about relationships. Not just your romantic relationship, but every single relationship. Um, Tell me about you. What is your experience? How has getting into perimenopause and actually, being aware, how has that impacted your relationships with really everyone you interact with?
It's funny, but this is what I hear from my friends and the people I know who are already in their postmenopause stage. And they've all been saying that since they went into menopause, they started to just not give a fudge about about other people or about other people's opinions, and they just started to become a badass. And I think with me,
Sure,
what
love
happened
that.
was, yeah, what happened was I started to make boundaries for myself, and I started to learn how to say no, and I started to just express myself without getting scared of what the other person might think or feel about me. And I just started to be more real, and I want to do more of that, and that feels good.
That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
me personally, being postmenopausal, right? We get a
Hmm.
lot of kind of outside factors. We get overstimulated. We become resentful. Our emotions are all high. We get stressed out. Sometimes we're feeling invisible. And especially when you're overthinking, everything kind of
True.
just gets blown out of proportion
Hmm.
really quickly, really easily. And a lot of those things can impact your relationship with not just with your partners, but your family, your friends, your kids, your coworkers, if you work in the office. And so,
Hmm.
to me, I think that's probably one of the things that we all need to kind of be cognizant about, right? So recognizing that you're going through this, and like you said, no is absolutely a complete sentence. I think no is a complete sentence.
It is.
The only challenge, especially like us, that I think we encounter is the fact that sometimes no and boundaries don't always go and flow very well together.
Hmm.
And
That's the
so
sad truth.
it is, and so there's a lot of kind of exercising and going through it over and over and over and just reinforcing and advocating, and usually that works. So solutions. Tell me, what have you done? What have you done to kind of mitigate whatever it is that's going on?
Well, um, I try to reframe our conversations. Like, for example, my husband, who I'm always around with. So, of course, he's the first victim or the recipient of whatever energy or mood I have. So I try to explain to him that what's going on in my body, these hormonal shifts, it affects greatly our energy, our mood, and our tolerance for, to hold space for other people. So just last week, a few days, 2 days ago, actually, we had this very interesting conversation where he was telling me that the reason why there are more cases of Alzheimer's in women, it's because we put we put a lot of creams in our body, lotions, makeup, sunscreen, all of those things. And then of course, that made me like, that is not entirely true, because ever since I went into perimenopause and I'm researching a lot of things and I read a lot of stuff, I told him, and actually involved Chat GPT into our conversation, and I told him, this is what's happening. Yes, of course, our lifestyle impacts a lot, but we lose our hormones. We literally lose it. Unlike men, they lose it gradually. It declines gradually, but us, we literally lose it, and there's a sharp decline from 40 years to 50, perimenopause to menopause. It's a sharp, sharp decline that's hard on our bodies. And so what was nice was he was able to understand that, because it's not coming from me. It's based on science and research and stuff like that. So yeah, just educate and share information. Be honest.
I absolutely, absolutely love the exchange that you had, because a lot of times these relationships really, have to start with communication. And to me, recognizing that you're going through the change and telling other people and being honest with them and telling them that you are going through the change. And once again, talking about setting your boundaries and protecting your energy and all that stuff. It kind of sounds cliche, but the one
But
thing
it's
that
true.
I think we are not talking about is you giving yourself space and grace. And I think we forget that very often because we're women, and a lot of times we kind of put ourselves kind of higher in the set of expectations, and so we give ourselves a harder time more than we do others. Like we give each other, we give other people a break so much more than we give ourselves a break. And I think that's probably one thing that we have to remember, that will go hand in hand. Like, hey, it's okay to be mad, right? If other people can get mad, I can be mad too. I can let me process my anger.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, absolutely. Any tips? I have actually, I've been thinking about this, so I have a few tips and I'll share it with you, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, I think number one is create micro boundaries. Like if you have to take 15-minute break just to regain your thinking or whatever. And also, maybe if you have something, there is something that bothers you about another person's actions or whatever, just when you talk to them, I think it's better to just talk about using the word I, and then I feel like this, I am overwhelmed, or I feel, yeah, this is me, and make it about you, so it doesn't create a big conflict between you, and then sometimes you just lose that relationship if the conversation goes wrong.
Absolutely.
So I think
It's
maturity.
it's funny you say that, because a lot of these things that you're talking about, we actually apply professionally in our jobs. There's the sandwich style of communication. And then what struck with me about what you just said is using I. There's two things I wanted to add, kind of dovetailing from what you were talking about. The one part is, when you talk about I, you make it about you. You basically say, when XYZ happens, I feel. And when you do that, what that does is it makes the other person focus on what the problem really is and what needs to be corrected. And the second part of that is, when you are discussing an issue, you are talking about the action, not the person. So you are effectively addressing the problem is not because the person is an awful person or you think they're just horrible. It's not. I mean, good people make mistakes too, right? Good people make bad decisions. So I really, really, really appreciate what you said. Now
It
it's
makes
kind
a
of
great
making me
impact.
think. Right. It's making me think that a lot of what we do kind of professionally almost blends into our personal lives if we just know when and how to apply it appropriately.
True.
Yep. For me, my tip is actually something that I've learned many, many, many years ago. It's a term called a social battery. Be aware of your social battery. How
Hmm.
much energy do I have for people today? You know, if I've got
Yeah.
5 bars on my social battery, let's go. Fire away. Have
Hmm.
at it. Bring everybody. But if my social battery is at a red, I would not make for very good company. And therefore, I'm probably going to go and not necessarily withdraw, but give yourself some alone time. Give yourself some social recovery time so that you can recharge. Set your boundaries. You mentioned micro boundaries. That's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept for me. Like, hey, not just big boundaries, set little ones everywhere. Why not? I
True.
think that's a really good idea, right? So set your emotional boundaries and supporting them and implementing them. And I love, 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 love that so much.
Yeah,
Um, uh-huh.
actually, I was listening to, do you know Brooke Castillo? She's a life coach, and she was talking
Okay.
about, there's an episode on her podcast, and it was very interesting about boundaries setting. And she said, this is how boundaries should go. Like, you can do whatever you want to do, but then here's what I'm going to do if you do that. It's not in a place, it's in a place of self-love. You don't really try to manipulate or change the other person. Like, you have a choice to do whatever you want to do and not do what I think you should do when you're how you should behave when you're with me, but I'm going to do what I need to do for myself. So,
I love that.
uh,
I love that. I love
right?
that. So, I bought a new book. It's supposed to arrive today, and I'm
Nice.
going to share the title. I
Uh-huh.
cannot say all of the words, but the
Okay.
title of the book says The Gentle Art of Not Giving a Truck.
Oh, wow. Who's the author? I think I
I
have
cannot
that.
remember. I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
it's the
done.
subtle art of not giving a
Yeah,
truck.
something like that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I have that on
yes.
my Audible.
Do you really? So,
Yes, yes.
it
It's
mine arrives today.
amazing.
I'm not done with my Let Them book yet. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna finish
I think
that, but that's gonna come next. I need to finish my Let Them book because my work throughout all these evaluations, my work is like, by the way, here is an attachment to the Let Them book, and it has to do with your professional relationships. And I'm like,
huh.
really? I want to go read that. Of course, I'm gonna need more than 24 hours a day,
Yeah, I
but
know.
yeah, I'm probably only like a quarter into the book because of everything that
Oh, it's
I've done.
hard. I know. I
And
can imagine.
I'm over here telling everybody, you got to protect your boundary. You have yourself some me time. I really need to get myself some me time.
You are a high functioning woman.
I'm trying, girl. I can't. I'm too old for this.
I'm rooting for you.
Ah. Tell me first moment. Did you have one this week? Share.
It's so funny because you mentioned it. I just got myself a new book. It's
Uh-huh.
called Mind Magic. And I saw that because it was a guest of Mel Robbins on her podcast, but the guy
Okay.
died a few weeks ago, maybe. And then it's all about manifesting and taking charge of your life and not leaving it up to fate or to the universe or whatever. So I'm excited to start that. So that's my me first moment.
I love that.
Hmm.
Mel, I like Mel Robbins, and reading the Let Them book kind of gives me a little bit more of an insight on like how she makes decisions and whatnot. And to me, that kind of validates something. Like, you don't have to have all the education. 'Cause she's a lawyer,
Oh, is
by
she?
career. Yeah, she's a lawyer,
Hmm.
but it kind of tells me that you don't need to have an education in these different areas that you are talking about. And more as I read all this information and process them, I'm starting to think that as opposed to education, I
Hmm.
would probably go for and listen to somebody who's had real life experiences
I agree.
on the different things that I I'm going through, because I feel like they can relate with me more. Obviously, we can always educate ourselves, right? And learning the different things that we can find with information so that we can arm ourselves with that and make better
Theoretically, yeah.
decisions. Yes, we can
Yeah.
make better decisions about them. But I think being able to find a person who have gone through or is going through the same thing that you are would probably resonate with me a little bit more.
Oh,
I
same
love
with me.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. My me first moment, I was just telling you in the beginning, this week was crazy, crazy stressful. And so, really, I just had to sit and basically tell everybody, look, this is everything that I have on my plate. This is what I have to offer you. And this is my limit. I was supposed to meet friends today, in fact. I was supposed to meet friends over in California, drove over to California, spend a day with them. But I basically had to say, I've pretty much exhausted every single resource I have, and I wouldn't be able to see you this week. I love
Oh,
these people and I do want to see them, but at some point I kind of had to start getting like my own well-being and putting
of
that into
course.
focus. Otherwise, I was like I was at the brink of burnout. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I think
Wow.
I'm starting to get into burnout, and he's like, I can see that.
Oh, Ate Marge.
And I'm like, ah.
You need a break.
Yeah, I was like, the
How are you
fact
gonna get
that
that?
you can see that. I did. So, I told you yesterday, my mom and I, we did some
Oh yeah.
Filipino store shopping. Then we did her shopping. And then last night I went to see family that hasn't been here for a while. So, in a way, that was kind of a little bit of a break. Maybe today after filming or after whatever else we have to do, I'm probably going to step out and go for a little drive.
Good. Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do that. You go and do that.
Yeah. What is your me first promise? Share, what are you promising yourself this coming week?
I promise maybe to work more on this, like not apologizing for needing space for
I love
myself.
that.
Yeah,
Well, you don't have to apologize really, but once
exactly.
again, it goes back to I feel like we're inconveniencing a lot of people
I
so
know,
much
huh?
when we try to take ourselves into perspective.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go with something similar to what you were
Mm-hmm.
talking about. Not necessarily protecting, not necessarily something like that, but I'm probably going to continue to say, hey, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't do this week.
Mm-hmm.
I only
Good.
have this much energy left. I think I need to be better in doing that. So this is not just going to be a promise for myself this week. This is probably going to be a little bit of a longer promise, if you
I'm gonna
may.
take that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
needs that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, that is it for our episode today. I cannot believe we're on episode 10. We will
That's
see you
fun,
next week
huh?
for episode 11. And I hope everybody has a wonderful time. And we will see you all soon. Have a nice day.